How do you rise each morning? Do you own your first breath? Or do you hand it over to a glowing screen? Most people wake up and instantly surrender, scrolling, reacting, drowning in the noise of notifications before their mind has even sharpened. That's not a habit. It's slavery. You think you're catching up, but you're being pulled down. Understand this. The first minutes after waking are not neutral. They are a battlefield. Either you claim that ground, or the world will occupy it. The average person wakes up and loses the war before they've even left the bed. But the disciplined few, the 1%, do something radically different. They rise with purpose. They choose silence, clarity, command. They begin not as victims of the world, but as rulers of themselves. And because they win the morning, they win the day. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself every dawn, when you arise in the morning, remember what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Yet look around. How many live that truth? Almost none. Is why? Because they've traded their privilege for poison. They treat the morning like an accident instead of a command. The Stoics knew the morning is sacred, your throne, your first and highest kingdom. But most surrender it without a fight, letting emotions, news, and other people dictate the rhythm of their day. If you give away your morning, you don't just lose time, you lose identity. You begin chasing instead of leading, reacting instead of directing. And if you repeat that for weeks, months, years, you don't just lose mornings, you lose your life. This video is your call to reclaim that kingdom, to become the rare one who starts in command, not in chaos. Most people will never taste true control because they hand it away before sunrise. They open their phone, and in that instant, game over. Their emotions are no longer their own. Their mind becomes a puppet, yanked around by gossip, bad news, and cheap entertainment. That first choice decides everything. One tap, and you've already told yourself, I'm weak, I react, I follow. And then you wonder why the day feels heavy, why you can't focus, why your life feels like it belongs to everyone but you. Let me be clear. If you don't master the morning, you will be mastered by it. The Stoics understood this brutal truth. They built habits not to look wise, but to stay free. Freedom isn't won in grand speeches. It's won in the quiet discipline of your first hour. And that's where we begin, by breaking the slavery of comfort and taking command of your mornings like a warrior. Secret number 1, wake up with discipline, not motivation. Weak men wait for motivation. They wait to feel like it. They negotiate with the alarm clock, bargain with the snooze button, and lose before they've even stood up. A Stoic doesn't play that game. He rises because it is time to rise. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, at dawn, when you have trouble getting up, tell yourself, I must go to work as a human being. This is not about comfort. It's about identity. Every morning you face a vote. Snooze and choose weakness, or rise and choose strength. When you get up on time, you're not just starting the day, you're forging a self-image. Discipline is not about feelings. Discipline is about who you are becoming. Stop waiting for a mood. Stand up, a move. And prove to yourself that your will is stronger than your excuses. When the alarm rings, you're not battling sleep, you're battling identity. Every time you hit snooze, you rehearse weakness. You teach your brain that your comfort matters more than your commitments. And what starts as 5 extra minutes in bed becomes a habit of delay that infects your entire life. But when you rise on time, no hesitation. No excuses, you send a different message. I am not ruled by feelings. I am ruled by choice. That's why the strongest people on earth treat waking up as sacred. They know the first act of the day is the first victory of the day. One win creates momentum. One loss creates doubt. This is how discipline snowballs. You don't argue with yourself. You don't negotiate with the soft voice begging for comfort. You stand up immediately. You choose command, and in that moment, you're already ahead of 99% of people still trapped in bed. Here's how you execute. Pick a wake-up time and guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. No snooze button, not even once. When the alarm hits, you rise instantly. Don't linger. Don't debate. Stand up. Feet on the ground. Body moving. That single action tells your brain, we are in command. Then speak power into the silence. Out loud, say something sharp and direct. The day is mine. Let's go. I lead, not follow. This is more than hype. It's a signal. A trigger for your nervous system that you are ready for battle. Add one physical act immediately. Splash cold water. Stretch, or drop into push-ups. Momentum over hesitation. This isn't about morning routines with candles and soft music. This is war against weakness. If you can crush the small voice at 5 a.m., you can crush it anywhere. Start here. They win here. Lead everywhere. Every morning, decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. Think about it. When you rise without hesitation, you're not just waking up. You're training identity. You're telling yourself, I am the kind of person who keeps promises, even when it hurts. Over time, this rewires you. Your mind stops obeying moods. Your body stops arguing. Your will becomes law. That is what Stoicism is at its core. Identity-based living. It's not about waiting to feel like a disciplined person. It's about acting like one until the behavior becomes carved into stone. Eventually, your body obeys your mind. Your energy obeys your will. And even on bad days you rise. Not because you feel powerful, but because you are powerful. This is how trust in yourself is built. And when you trust yourself, your power multiplies. Discipline becomes gravity. Weakness loses its grip. Secret number 2, win the first hour in silence. Let me ask you, who controls your mind the moment you wake? You or the world? Most people hand it over instantly. They open their phone, and before their feet even touch the ground, they're already drowning in other people's noise. Messages, arguments, headlines, talangs. That's why their day feels chaotic, because it began in chaos. But the disciplined, the 1%, do the opposite. They start with silence. No notifications, no music, no endless chatter, just presence. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish regarding external things. In other words, don't fear stillness. Don't fear being unreachable for a short time. Silence is not weakness. Silence is your fortress. In that first hour, the mind is soft, impressionable. Feed it noise, and you train chaos. Feed it silence, and you train command. Understand this. If the first thing you consume each morning is noise, you have already surrendered your clarity. Your brain, still foggy from sleep, is wide open, like soft clay ready to be shaped. And what do most people do? They let social media's notifications and distractions mold that clay into anxiety, jealousy, and weakness. That's why they spend the entire day restless, comparing themselves, reacting instead of acting. They wonder why they're tired before noon. It's simple. Their energy was stolen in the first 5 minutes. You cannot rise like a warrior if you begin like a slave. Noise programs your mind for chaos. Silence programs your mind for clarity. Every morning is a choice. Will you train yourself to react? Or will you train yourself to rule? If you want freedom, you must guard that first hour like a lion guards its den. Here's how you claim silence. When you wake, sit up, plant your feet, and do nothing. No phone, no conversation, no distraction. Just breathe. Feel the air moving in and out of your chest. Notice your thoughts, but don't chase them. Let them pass like clouds. Then ask yourself 1 or 2 sharp questions. What energy do I want to carry today? What would the strongest version of me do this morning? That's it. You don't need candles or mantras, just stillness and awareness. If you give yourself even 10 minutes of this quiet, your mind resets, sharpens, and steadies. The Stoics called this proheresis, your inner freedom. The ability to choose your response no matter what the world throws at you. And when life hits later, you move through it like a calm storm because your foundation was built in silence, not stolen by noise. Silence isn't emptiness, it's strength. Most people can't handle it because silence exposes them. They rush to noise to avoid facing their own mind. But if you can sit in quiet, even for a few minutes, you reclaim control over the most important territory on earth, your inner world. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Silence gives you space to see those false fears clearly instead of letting them run your life. In the morning, your mind is most open, most vulnerable. If you fill it with distraction, you'll be pulled by distraction all day. But if you fill it with stillness, you'll carry stability everywhere you go. Clarity never comes from chaos. It always comes from calm. That's why silence in the first hour isn't optional. It's survival. Guard it like a warrior. Secret number 3, face the day before it starts. Life will not go as planned. You can wake up disciplined, sit in silence, and still traffic hits. Coworkers complain, someone insults you, or unexpected problems slam into your schedule. Most people crumble when this happens. They lose their temper, their focus, their energy. Why? Because they never prepared. The Stoics had a weapon for this. Premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds grim, but it's pure strength. Instead of hoping the day will be easy, you expect it to be hard. Seneca wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." When you rehearse difficulty in your mind, you strip it of surprise. Challenges no longer shake you. They meet a man who has already faced them once in his imagination and decided how to respond. Look at the average person. One rude comment ruins their morning. One delay in traffic makes them explode. One unexpected email drains their whole spirit. They live as if life owes them smooth seas. And when the storm comes, they drown. That's weakness. That's emotional slavery. But here's the truth. The storm is guaranteed. Problems are not accidents. They are constants if you don't prepare for them. They will own you. The man who expects ease collapses under pressure. The man who expects resistance grows stronger through it. That's why most people lose their peace before lunch. They never armored their mind before stepping into battle. If you want to be unshakable, you must train yourself to face the day before it begins. Don't wait for chaos to arrive. Anticipate it. That way, when it strikes, you're not surprised. You're steady, ready, and already in command. Here's how you practice the Stoic art of premeditatio malorum. Each morning, after your silence, ask yourself, what obstacles could strike today? Don't spiral, don't dramatize, just calmly name them. Maybe you'll face traffic, maybe someone will interrupt you, maybe you'll feel tired, distracted, or tempted to quit. Then, decide your response before it happens. If I get stuck in traffic, I breathe and practice patience. If I'm criticized, I listen without rage. If I feel fatigue, I move anyway. This is mental training, like a soldier rehearsing for battle. By running these scenarios in your mind, you steal chaos of its power. When the obstacle comes, you don't react like a victim. You respond like a leader who already lived it once. That's how you stop being fragile and start being unshakable. Imagine this. Traffic usually frustrates you. So in the morning, you rehearse it. You picture yourself stuck, horns blaring, minutes slipping away. But instead of rage, you imagine breathing deeply, turning the delay into practice for patience. Then later that day, it happens exactly as you foresaw, gridlock. But this time, you don't explode. You don't pound the wheel. You smirk, because you already beat it once in your mind. This is the power of premeditatio malorum. Weak people collapse when plans break. The Stoic bends, but does not break, because he expected it. By previewing the day's possible trials, you transform them from ambushes into training drills. Suddenly, nothing owns you. You are steady when others shake, calm when others panic. That calm isn't luck, it's preparation. And preparation is power. Secret number 4, anchor yourself with a Stoic morning reminder. Every warrior, every philosopher, every leader has a truth they return to daily, a phrase, a principle, a reminder of who they are. Without it, the world defines you. With it, you define yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote his Meditations not for others, but for himself. Private reminders of how to stay calm, strong, and that was his armor. Each morning, your mind wakes up fragile, searching for direction. If you don't plant a truth inside it, the noise of the world will. The strong don't leave this to chance. They recite a mantra, an anchor, something like, I control my mind. Not events, or this day is a gift. I will not waste it. Or I live in truth, not in approval. One anchor is enough. Repeat it, own it, become it. That truth will carry you. Here are examples of anchors. The disciplined return to every morning. I do not control outcomes, only my response. This protects you from frustration. I will carry myself with discipline, no matter the storm. This keeps your composure unshaken. Today is not promised. I will not waste it in distraction. This cuts laziness at its root. I was not born to please, but to live in truth. This frees you from chasing approval. Notice these aren't feel-good slogans. They are commands, principles that shape identity. The average person wakes up and drifts. The Stoic wakes up and directs. And the more you repeat your anchor, the more it becomes law. Over time, the words stop being something you say and become something you are. This is why Aurelius reminded himself daily, because without anchoring, even the strongest mind will drift into weakness. Here's how you forge your morning anchor into steel. After waking and sitting in silence, speak your chosen truth out loud. Not a whisper, say it with power. 10 times, let it echo inside you until your body feels the weight of it. Then write it down, put it on paper, on your wall, on your desk, anywhere you'll see it. before the world tries to pull you off course. Don't chase 100 affirmations, one truth. Repeated daily will carve itself into your identity. Over weeks, that anchor becomes instinct. When stress hits, your anchor answers for you. When fear rises, your anchor steadies you. This is not positive thinking. It is mental armor. Without it, you drift. With it, you walk into the day aligned, composed, untouchable. Remember, if you don't tell your mind who you are, the world will. Secret number 5. Master the mind before the world enters. Ask yourself, who gets access to your mind first each morning? For most, it's strangers online, breaking news, or the opinions of people who don't matter. No wonder their thoughts are scattered and their emotions unstable. Seneca said, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." That's the trap. When you let the world shape your mind before you've shaped it yourself, you're already defeated. The Stoics reversed this. They treated the first moments of the day as sacred ground for reflection, for sharpening thought before opening the gates. That's why journaling or quiet self-examination is so powerful. It's not about writing essays, it's about clarity. 5 minutes of honest thought in the morning can protect you from 10 hours of emotional chaos. Command your mind first, or someone else will. Picture this. You wake up, roll over, and grab your phone. Within seconds, your mind is bombarded. News of tragedy. You can't change. Posts designed to make you feel less. Emails demanding your energy. Before you've even stood up, your spirit is hijacked. And the worst part, you chose it. You handed your mind to strangers before you gave it to yourself. That's why you feel anxious all day. That's why you're restless, reactive, unfocused. You open the gates of your mind without putting a guard at the door. The Stoics would call this madness. If you can't protect your first thoughts, you can't protect your life. Letting the world in first thing is like giving a thief the keys to your home. You wonder why your peace is gone. It's because you gave it away the moment you woke. Here's how you master your mind before the world enters. Keep a notebook by your bed. The moment you finish your silence and anchor, write for 5 minutes. Nothing fancy, just answer 3 sharp questions. What am I feeling right now? What do I need to let go of? What virtue will I practice today? Patience, courage, discipline, and self-control. That's it. No one will read it. It's not about style, it's about clarity. The Stoics did this daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote not for applause, but to remind himself how to live. By writing your thoughts, you strip them of their power. What was vague becomes visible. What was heavy becomes lighter. Journaling is not about recording life. It's about commanding it. 5 minutes of writing puts your mind under your control, instead of leaving it to the chaos of the world. Do this every morning and watch what happens. After a week, you'll notice your mind is sharper. You catch your own excuses before they control you. After a month, you'll see patterns, habits, triggers. Emotions that once ruled you now appear on paper, exposed. After a year, you'll look back and realize you've been training your mind like an athlete trains his body. That's what journaling does. It builds mental muscle. You stop carrying yesterday's weight into today. You stop reacting blindly. You start choosing thoughts instead of being dragged by them. The weak hide from their emotions. The Stoic examines them, reshapes them, and rises stronger. This is how you free yourself from being a prisoner of moods. If you don't lead your mind, the world will, and it will not lead you kindly. Master yourself first, or you will be mastered. Secret number 6, move the body to activate the mind. Understand this, your body and mind are not separate. If the body is lazy, the mind follows. If the body is sharp, the mind ignites. That's why the 1% never start their day without movement. Not because they're chasing aesthetics or gym selfies, but because motion is momentum. Marcus Aurelius asked himself, is this what you were made for? To huddle under the blankets and keep warm. The body was designed to work, to endure, to move. The moment you stretch, sweat, or shock yourself with cold water, you declare war on weakness. You prove to yourself, I do hard things, even when I don't feel like it. That single act of motion crushes the soft voice of comfort and tells your mind, we are here to lead, not hide. Look at how most people begin their mornings. Hunched over, scrolling, sluggish, feeding the body nothing but stillness. And they wonder why their mind feels foggy, why their willpower collapses, why their energy dies before noon. It's simple. If you train the body in weakness, you will live weak. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus taught that discipline over the body trains discipline over the soul. If you cannot command your flesh to rise, stretch, or move. How can you expect to command your thoughts when adversity strikes? Comfort in the morning becomes weakness in the afternoon. Laziness compounds, and soon, you're not just skipping push-ups, you're skipping your purpose. You think comfort is harmless, but it's poison if you don't challenge the body daily. You're teaching it and your mind that comfort is king. And once comfort rules, discipline dies. Here's how you bring discipline into the body every morning. Start with 10 minutes, no excuses. Drop into push-ups until your chest burns. Stretch your spine, open your lungs, let blood flow. Do jumping jacks, squats, or step outside for a brisk walk in silence. Finish with cold water on your face, or a full cold shower if you dare. This isn't about building a perfect physique. It's about proving to yourself that you control the body, not the other way around. Each active movement is a declaration. I conquer comfort. The first sweat of the morning kills the weakness that lingers from sleep. You don't need 2 hours in the gym. You need motion, deliberate and sharp, to flip the switch from passive to powerful. When the body obeys, the mind awakens. And once both are aligned, nothing outside can shake you. When you force the body to move, even when it screams for comfort, something powerful happens. The mind hardens. You start to see yourself differently. You stop identifying with weakness and begin to identify with strength. Every push-up, every cold shower, every stretch in the face of fatigue is proof. I am not ruled by feelings. I am ruled by will, and that proof builds trust. Once you trust yourself to rise and move no matter what, you become dangerous because most people can't even win that small battle. They collapse at the first hint of discomfort. But you've trained discomfort into an ally. Movement isn't about muscles, it's about mastery. You condition your body to obey, and your mind follows. By breakfast, you've already proven you can conquer resistance. And if you can conquer yourself, the world becomes far less intimidating. Secret number 7, rehearse the person you want to be. Most people stumble into the day reactive, hoping they'll somehow show up as their best self when tested. That's fantasy. The Stoics knew better. They practiced becoming who they wanted to be before stepping into the world. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Wasting time isn't just scrolling or gossip. It's failing to prepare your character. Each morning, take a few minutes to visualize yourself moving through the day as your strongest self. See yourself calm in conflict, patient in traffic, disciplined in work, courageous in speech. This isn't fake. This is rehearsal. And when the test arrives, you don't freeze, you act. Because you've already lived it once in your mind. That's how identity is trained, not hoped for. Look at the ones who never rehearse. They drift. They get pulled into the strongest energy around them. Anger, gossip, fear, distraction. They become echoes of the world instead of leaders of themselves. That's why they break under pressure, because they never trained for it. A man without intention is like a ship without a rudder. Wherever the wind blows, that's where he goes. And then he wonders why his life feels wasted. The Stoic doesn't accept that. He begins each day by shaping who he will be, not leaving it to chance. If you don't prepare your identity, your impulses will run your life. You'll snap when challenged, crumble when criticized, stall when it's time to act. But when you choose your character in advance, you walk into the storm already armed. The day doesn't shape you, you shape the day. Here's how to rehearse your best self. Sit for 2 minutes after your silence, anchor, and movement. Close your eyes and imagine the day ahead. Picture specific challenges, the meeting, the traffic, the temptation to waste time. Then, visualize yourself responding as the strongest version of you would. Calm, disciplined, direct. See yourself walking tall, speaking with clarity, choosing patience where you once snapped. Feel it. The brain doesn't know the difference between rehearsal and reality. By practicing in your mind, you build a script your body will follow. Athletes do this. Warriors do this. Stoics did this. You must too, because when the test comes, and it will, you won't be guessing. You'll be executing. Every morning is a chance to carve identity deeper. Rehearse weakness. And weakness rules. Rehearse strength. And strength becomes who you are. Let's bring it all together. 7 disciplines to own your morning, and through it, your life. Rise with discipline. Not motivation. Win the first hour in silence. Face the day before it starts. Anchor yourself with a Stoic reminder. Master the mind before the world enters. Move the body to activate the mind. Rehearse the person you want to be. These are not hacks. They are weapons. If you apply even one, your mornings change. If you apply them all, your life transforms. Most people will ignore this. They'll keep hitting snooze. Keep chasing noise. Keep living soft, but not you. You wouldn't still be here if you wanted comfort. You're here because you're done surrendering. This is your line in the sand. From this day forward, your mornings are no longer accidents. They are commands. Drop this in the comments. I own my morning. I own my life. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you is ready for change. But listening alone is not enough. The Stoics taught that action is the measure of truth. So don't just nod your head. Apply this tomorrow morning. Rise with discipline. Protect your silence. Command your mind. Move your body. Rehearse the strongest version of yourself and then go live it. Because if you don't change now, when will you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me which morning discipline you'll start today. Share this with someone who needs to wake up to their potential. And remember, transformation doesn't wait. It begins the moment you decide to act. Thanks for listening and for being part of Momentum Mindset. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next video.